Hey guys, here's a video on how to live in a love-based society. So in 2000, let's see, I ascended in 2012 with my consciousness and was training beforehand for that moment. And then once I got to that moment, this is how a lot of the higher dimensional beings work. They test things out. And after they test them, they do them. And so they're able to follow through with a lot of actions with very, probably small to none in terms of casualties if possible. So for years, I was there just doing things, like they weren't really tests because then sometimes the tests become the reality. And that's how they like to work. They'll leave you thinking, oh, you're still running a test when you're actually doing it. Because they know when you're ready to do it. Because they can see when it happens ahead of time because of the timelines. It's something you'll develop. I learned how to see the timelines myself. So, from 2012 to 2015, every day for 3 years, with little to no sleep, I would work constantly. Particularly if I lived with somebody, I would wait till everyone's asleep and I would be doing just weird stuff and like standing in one spot and like moving my head, but it was all about like my conscious awareness and learning to feel myself. I had to learn to hear my soul or my intuition. I have what's called, it's not telepathy, it's called direct cognition, and a lot of you have it. It's called a knowing. When you just know, it's beyond the vibration of the mind or even the frequency. And I'm not going to use that word anymore either because it's not the right word. Vibration is the right word, not frequency. We're going to have a little change in words also. But I learned how to use the vibration of the mind. I learned how to use sensing for vibrations. So it got down to a point where after all those years, I would be waiting 6 months sometimes. And after every single test, they would stop. Then tell me, okay, it was a test. This is why we're doing it. But then I kept thinking that it was going to end. Like I only had a year left and I could go back to the way I was, which was living as a single point of consciousness. You see, once I slid out of my body, I became aware. It's like my consciousness got real big. And I became aware of all these other little parts of me that were stuck. I could feel them stuck. So I would fly in my astral, pick them up, host them, connect to them. Then all of whatever I needed to heal, that part would connect to because it was connected to that part. Then I would have to heal it while that part was being attacked. And I had to protect the part while I healed it and then ascend the aspect up to the right timeline. I did this for years. I know what ascension feels like. And I know what the elements, the bending of elements feels like. The air element is what I used. And you can bend the elements using these things that the Indians from India call mudras. They kind of like this or like this, like this. Well, each one of these is a symbol for one of the elements. This is ether. Now, those mudras are old. I don't know if they're the case anymore. They also correlate with what's called a brevity code. A brevity code, this is something I was taught. Everyone has their own unique brevity code. It could be just some little thing someone does, but it's in their hand. Mine is this. This creates a vacuum to suck out dark energy. It's pretty big. So if I have a lot of weird things going on and someone's interfering, I'll just go like this. It even kind of looks like gang symbol, but that's my brevity code. Yours is not going to be like that. Yours will be whatever it is. But I've used that brevity code since 2013. Still going strong. right there. So, brevity codes are huge. I learned all and a lot of this from being in the Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order. And so you will learn. But the main thing is to have your connection established first. Here's the first step on how to get a spiritual connection anchored. Step number 1. You have to ask. No being, except for the ones who agreed before they came into this body, is going to break your free will agreement. They will not just invade your space. You have to ask. You have to ask eternal source. And use the word eternal, because there's a lot of things out there that are not. It really defines what you're asking. So ask for eternal God source. The word God's been kind of screwed up too. I call it source because it's the source of everything, source of creation. Ask eternal source for whatever you want. Ask him for, hey, do you exist? And that's a great question for those who don't believe in God. Just ask. Because when you ask, you open up your DNA to receive. And only God knows how to talk to you. So, ask. They say, what in the Bible? Ask and ye shall receive. Voila. I don't feel or resonate with religions, but there's a little bit of truth in every book. So, ask. Find out how Spirit talks to you first. It's kind of number 1 and number 2. Learn to ask with humility. Number 2, learn to receive. If you master those 2, you can get your own connection to source. And the 3rd rule, that is an old saying, my relationship with source comes first. The same rule with self-love, which is love, which both of those are what I call our attitudes and responsibilities. They're a set of attitudes and responsibilities on how a human can make choices down here and stay in the right vibration. So I'm trying to give you guys some wisdom. Ask and receive. It'll blow your mind away. It'll blow your breath away. That's called the first main thing, establishing a connection. The 3rd one is, once you have established a connection, address it and acknowledge it. What is this thing? Is it my intuition? Is it a knowing? Yes, it's one of those. So now you've actualized what you just asked for. You asked, you got an answer. The answer could come in any way. It could come in 3 years. It could come in 10 seconds. I'm telling you, we're ascending now. People need to kind of hurry up. So you're going to get a very quick answer. Just ask whatever you need to ask and forget about it. Just go about your regular day. You are going to have a moment of what I call synchronicity, where something in your life is going to line up exactly perfectly with your thoughts and what you asked. And you're just going to look and you're like, whoa, the answer's right here. And it's going to pop up right in front of you. That's another way that source talks to you. So get those 3 things down. The rest, your own connection can teach you. I love you.